Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This is episode 75 of Business Storytelling Made Easy. And today I'm super excited to share with you my interview with Jordan Guyton. Jordan is a social media content expert and curated community building genius. She teaches heart-centered businesses how to use social media content to amplify and monetize their gifts unapologetically. Jordan started her business from scratch in 2020 and since then has generated multiple six figures and grown her Instagram community to 85,000. And this is all organic growth, no ads. So I had a ball talking to Jordan about storytelling on social media, and I left the conversation feeling super free. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of talking about social media and it feels so heavy. It feels like you leave with a list of all the things you're not doing and you need to be doing better and you need to be doing all of the things and you need to be doing them right now. Well, this conversation is the opposite. Jordan highlights for us the importance of authentic content. She talks about building community rather than just trying to get transactions from people. And she talks about playing the long game and being willing to test and measure, trial and error to get to the point that we're all trying to get to. So I felt like it was a really empowering conversation for me, and I hope that it is for you too. Without further ado, here's my chat with Jordan Guyton. Jordan, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. Thank you for holding space. So yeah.
I'm so grateful. So grateful. I met you last year in paradise in Mexico.
It was pretty popping. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was. And ever since then, whenever we get together, it's just like such a blessing. Like it gives me like an energy boost. So super cool to get to talk to you and introduce you to all my friends who are listening. So let us know who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So my name is Jordan Guyton, Brandon. I am a content coach and consultant, and our mission really is to equip entrepreneurs, startups, and creators with the basic and over basic knowledge when it comes to social media to show up unapologetically and generate more revenue in their business. So we're all about you being yourself and making more money.
Yes, love it. So one of the things that you shared with me is that you began in business in 2020. Is that right? And since then have generated multiple six figures. Congratulations. I share in celebrating you and celebrating everything that's happening and has yet to happen. So I have a two-part question. What has this journey felt like for you? That's the first part. But the second part is, what do you feel like have been the main drivers of growth for you?
What has this journey been like for me? The wilderness. It is Entrepreneurship is not a game, and I think that entrepreneurship is great. That it's a great thing that it's available for everyone, but I don't feel like everyone should be an entrepreneur. It is a it is a piece of life that will teach you new things about yourself every single day. um, as I'm sure every single entrepreneur has had their ups and downs, and I can share that same sentiment. But in the same breath, there's nothing else that I would rather be doing with my time, with my heart, with my gifts. So it's been that we've had our challenges, we've had our growth, we've had our like slow season. I think what has been the catalyst of my growth is just my faith in God, my faith in knowing that it's not if this happens, it's when this happens, and staying in that energy, playing in that energy, and really keeping my head on straight with not allowing my business to become my identity, and keeping those very, very separate. It's something that I do and something that I enjoy, but it's not who I am. And so I think being who I am has made my business better, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense. Yeah, we have entrepreneurs that listen and then also those that are working in corporate. And I think what you're saying resonates on so many levels, for both, like whether you're building a business or you're working inside someone else's, whatever that identity is, it can't be your career. It can't be the business or the thing, So I love that you're like highlighting the journey and becoming, kind of evolving to that better self as we continue along our path. I love it. So
Absolutely.
I work with a lot of corporations, marketing, sales teams, et cetera. And I will tell you probably the number one question I get when it comes to social media is, what channels should I be on? Tell me what accounts I need to be on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Uh, I mean, that is such a hard question. It's such a case by case type of answer. I think that I was actually teaching, I was guest teaching in one of my past students' beta cohort. So it was just very full circle for her to start with me and then start coaching and then have people that have paid and are it was just such a beautiful moment. And one of the things that I feel like we feel as business owners or corporations is that we have to do all the things. And so doing all the things is exhausting. At times it's unnecessary. And so I always say, go to where your clients are, right? And then if you don't know where your clients are, go to where feels good to you and start there, right? So if Snapchat does not feel good to me, I don't know what that is. My 17-year-old sister does that. That's not for me. TikTok, I've tried it. It's a lot. It's not for me. My playground currently is Instagram and LinkedIn, and that's where my clients are, right? And I started with Facebook, but I got good at Instagram, doubled down on that, and then decided to then put my toe into LinkedIn. So I think it's taking it one step at a time and not trying to do everything at once to build your audience on one platform and build that loyalty and those day oneers that will then follow you to the next platform.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. I feel like you just set somebody free because there's so
Oh,
much
good.
pressure to do all the things and be great everywhere and take advantage of the next new thing. So that's so wise, like, because you can't do everything at once, at least not do it well.
No,
So,
for what? It ain't it. For what? For what?
right, right. I know one of your specialties is going live. So, live streaming via social. I also know I've talked to enough people to know that some people are terrified of such. you know, like video number one, but all the more like going live. So, what kind of tips and tricks and encouragement do you give to people to kind of, start start going
Yeah,
live or improve their efforts?
absolutely. I mean, I'll start by saying it is terrifying. I agree, guilty. Yes. This also comes from someone who spent 10 years in the entertainment industry. I started in production and TV and casting. I was in front of the camera. I sold a web series to a network that I acted in 2019. So being in front of the camera was something that was not new to me. And so I thought going live was going to be just this natural sensation, right? That it was just,
Yeah.
yeah, show up and I'm great. And it was terrifying. And I was sweating and I would have these big circles under my shirt where my armpits are every single time I hopped off live. And it wasn't until I continued to do it over and over and over and put the reps in that it started to feel more comfortable. Do I still get scared and nervous? Absolutely. Yesterday I hopped off my live and I was like, that was actually fun. Like I was kicking it with my friends. Like it was cool. I was kicking it with my internet besties. And I think that for someone who's just starting, what I always tell my students or my clients is to develop some sort of on camera ritual. So before you go live, think about what your warm up feels like to you, right? When we think about working out or we think about getting our mind right for something, there's that little piece of time, that little piece of space that you take up that gets yourself ready. And so some of the things we talk about is listening to your favorite music, or I had one student tell me that she gives herself a mirror pep talk to like get herself hyped. I've heard sitting in silence. That's what I do now. I used to listen to music, but because going live takes a lot of my energy, I like to just be in peace before I go live. You could pray, you could meditate, like whatever that feels like to you, for you. to get you in that headspace and to kind of calm you and center you. I always recommend doing that and switching it up so that you're ready to go when you hit that record button.
I love that. It reminds me of like an athlete when you're ready to like, do something at a high level. You typically have your steps that you take leading up to that moment. And those are the kind of the variables that you can control, and you think about how that's going to feel and kind of prepare you mentally. So that makes so much sense. So we were just talking about not having to do all of the things, but are there some like specific benefits to going live? Like, do you feel like every brand should be trying to figure out how to live stream via social?
Every is like saying always and never.
Right.
Again, very case by case. I think that if you are, so I'm speaking to like service providers, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, those that are the face of their business, you're your best case study. I'm speaking to you. Absolutely. That is one of the best ways to get your audience in real time, combat objections. I've once heard it be called your virtual handshake. It's just a great way to articulate how to work with you. One, value in your expertise. Because when you go live, you're automatically on stage, right? That already screams expert. You're on a stage in front of people, and now you're positioning yourself as a thought leader. Then you have people who can experience your energy, right? Your tone, the way you show up, that is authentically you, that then gives them the choice to make the decision to spend money. You don't get that from a swipe through post. You don't get that from a quote. You don't get that from a brand photo, right? You honestly get someone's essence when they go. That comes when you think about even sales calls, right? You want to get people like this so that they can give you their truest self. And I think that's what live is. It opens your heart, it opens who you're called to serve, and you are kind of that, what's that word, like a lighthouse for them. And if you're meant to be seen by them, they will see you. And I think that's the perfect way to do it.
Oh, that makes so much sense. That's good. Okay. So when I think about a story, I think about the importance of beginning, middle, and end, right? Like it has to make sense. So I also think about developing content for social, like it has to tell some sort of cohesive story. Like you can't be totally all over the place. So how do you help people that might be feeling all over the place kind of get together a cohesive content strategy?
Yeah, I think that takes time, right? I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to get it right when we first start showing up on social for our business or just for fun. I think that you really won't know until you try it all, right? You really won't know what your cohesiveness is unless you do a brain dump and put it all out there, right? And see what your audience resonates with, see what feels good to you, right? In your moments of sharing that personal content, right? Maybe the vulnerable pieces maybe feel a little sticky or crunchy, right? But maybe like the happy, cheery, celebrational types of posts feel really good to you. We're talking about certain subjects, right? I think you only see that cohesiveness personally, and what I've seen with my students is time, and you have to give yourself permission to evolve through this, right? Because there'll be moments where you're like, oh, I always talk about this, now I'm really scared to talk about this next thing because they only know me. But you have to evolve, and you have to give yourself permission to try what's on your heart or pivot. So I that's my answer: time.
Yeah, that makes so much sense because I feel like we do put pressure on ourselves to get the results, and we want to see them right away and consistently. And sometimes organizations have bigger teams and they're relying on whomever's doing social, like, come on, like get the results. And sometimes we don't have that leeway to play and figure out and test stuff that is required to really get there. So makes sense.
It's about managing those expectations up front, right? It's about, this is a long game. It's about, look how long you've been doing it and not getting results. So think how much longer it's going to take for us to get into sync or get in sync so that you can start getting results. I think we have to really start talking about and do a better job as marketers about explaining the long game and explaining the reps that you put in, explaining the crickets for months when you ask for people to vote in your stories or when you go live and nobody shows up. I think we need to talk about that more because you have to get your audience in step with you. And if they've been so out of step and out of sync for so long or never,
Yeah.
we have to get them into that cadence, and that takes time.
Mm, amen. You mentioned vulnerability, I think
Mhm.
you said.
Mhm.
I run into people, and I sometimes experience this too. It's like you have yourself as a person, and then I have my business. And when I'm talking business, I want to be business, and I want you to take me seriously. And I want you to take what I'm doing seriously. And sometimes we're afraid to show a little vulnerability because we don't know, like, is there going to be some fallout behind it, or am I going to be super uncomfortable? Yet I feel there is a need to be authentic. That's what people respond to. They respond to real, so kind of how do you reconcile the two when you
Mm.
want to present this face of your business, but you do want it to be real, but there's like a tension there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think we all kind of feel those moments. Um, I mean, I think it's as simple as ripping the band-aid off, right? Because when we think about the times where we paced back and forth for this one post that we know is going to bring someone breakthrough, and we're like, oh, should I post it? But it's so vulnerable. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm actually putting myself there. Oh my God, I don't know what's, and then we post it, and people are like, oh my God, thank you so much. And they're in your DMs and they're commenting. It's not being so tied to the performance of your post that you're stuck in this prison of not posting, right? Because at the end of the day, your content is not for you, right? It's for somebody else. It's to help someone else. It's to bring them to breakthrough. It's to give them that aha moment. It's that I see you. That's what that is, right? And so I think that you have to have the mindset of knowing that it's just part of the game of that crunchy, like I don't know what they don't say, but it's necessary. It's necessary to humanize brands. Bigger companies need to tell more stories. Bigger companies need to tell stories from people that never get to tell stories, that people that look like us, women, LGBTQ plus, like those stories need to be shared through companies, as uncomfortable as it may feel, because if you want to build a cohesive culture within your business,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just business, right?
Yeah.
It's culture and love and whatever your mission, vision, values are.
Yeah.
So I think that strategically it has to be built into your content calendar, or your whatever you guys use for content.
Sure. I want to revisit what you said. Bigger companies need to tell more stories.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said that stuck with me. And the mindset shift of my content is not for me or my brand or whatever, but it's for whom I'm serving. And I think sometimes we forget that, or, you're looking for whatever the return is. Did I get the like? Did I get the affirmation? What did it do for me?
Right.
So that's big. But for someone who's like, yeah, I need to tell more stories on social, and they don't have a concept of even what that would look like, where could they start, or what could they be thinking about?
Well, they can hire me, or
That's
uh,
right.
or I think you start with what you like to see, right? Do an inventory of the things that get you to stop, or get you to like, or get you to buy. What kind of stories are they? One, and then actively seek out somebody who is opposite of you and have a conversation with them, right? And ask them what kind of stories resonate with them and what they're listening to and reading and enjoying and digesting and consuming, right? And do some sort of swap so that we can not just be so self-consumed, right? Having different viewpoints in a business and different stories in a business is so beautiful and so important. It's this beautiful symphony that kind of happens.
Yeah.
And I think just having those conversations with each other and being open and receptive to those results, can really start to change the conversation.
I love that. Yeah, I feel the same. Like, good stories often come out of conversation or some sort of interaction. Um, so another thing I know about you is you have a very vibrant Instagram community. I think 85,000 deep, if I'm not mistaken. So I love it because again, I feel like you're teaching us it's not just about these posts or whatever, but literally building community. Um, so for those of us trying to make that jump, like I'm posting, I don't know, but oh man, I would love to have a community where I feel like there's an exchange going on. Like, can you share maybe some of the mindset shifts that you had to, maybe embark upon to even look at it this way, to be thinking
Yeah.
about the community?
Yeah, I'm laughing because that's so uncomfortable. Like, I'm laughing because I just don't know where all of these people came from, and it's so weird. It's a lot. Um, yeah, it's really weird to hear that back. Because
Yeah.
I see it, I see it when I post, or it's just weird. Yeah, so when I started, I had a little under 6,000 followers, and that was in July of 2020. I've never run an ad, I've never bought followers. I don't know where these people come from, and I'm grateful. One of the things that I can speak to in the beginning of my journey, and it's gotten a lot harder because we've grown so fast. But I remember just being so intentional about connecting to who felt connected to me. And so I would spend time sending voice notes and thanking people for following me and joining my community. I would engage with every single person that followed me. I would comment, I would I was just thirsty for community and so grateful that my content was something that they decided to choose, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and so I think that we forget, like I said, now it's gotten a lot harder to just keep up with it on a daily basis. But I've met some of my just biggest cheerleaders and then also friends on social from being intentional about the community I'm creating. One. Two, I think I was very intentional over time on who I am called to serve. And for me, I feel like I'm called to serve heart centered women, service based businesses, people who are trying to help other people. That's where my heart is. And I remember when I started my business, we had, I think it was, I'll have to pull it back up, but I'll pull it up at the end. But I think we had, I want to say 15% women was my demo, and then the rest were men when I had 6,000 followers. So I had a lot of like, Ayo Mob was good. I had a lot of that. And I recently had to put my numbers together for a brand partnership. And we have 86% women and 14% men out of 88,000 people that have decided to join my community. And so to see that shift, right, to see that whom I'm speaking to is working, the women are here, like my girls, like they're here, is it blows my mind every time I think about it. But I think it all goes back to that word of intention. I was intentional about building relationships. I was intentional about being nervous to reach out and say, hey, do you want to have a coffee chat? Or, hey, I love your content, or thank you for following me. And those are some of the same people that have been with me and pray over me and support me and buy my programs. And it's all about intention.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. What I'm hearing is like you were sincerely wanting community, and that's what you got back. And it's just great. So, last question. Well, second to last.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the people are curious about algorithms and stuff like that. Like, this month the platform is prioritizing this and that, and it's always changing.
Yeah.
How do you approach that or advise people to like, do we need to keep switching it up or pay a lot of attention to that or not?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I don't. I don't. It's not my ministry. Like I did not embark on this to keep people abreast of the trends, right? I did not sign up for this to be a news anchor, right? I know what works and what I've been doing since MySpace has still been tried and true, no matter what new feature comes out or what new algorithm is changing. And that's being yourself. And that's showing up in the energy that feels good to you. And that's choosing a cadence and a frequency that is not what the gurus are asking you of, but of what your heart and your energy and your time and the lifestyle that you live. Like I don't subscribe to that, right? I will try things, right? But it's not so much something that I would then bring back and talk about unless I know there's longevity in that. And I know what I've seen has worked and stood the test of any algorithm.
Amen. Amen to that. I personally feel so much better having this conversation.
Man.
Well, you are a joy, you are a treasure, as you already know.
Okay.
But for those of us that want to follow up with you, they want more information, they want to connect, they want to reap the benefits of your genius, let us know how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, so my playground is Instagram or LinkedIn. Like I said, I'm getting my LinkedIn like fins going. They're growing. But it's Jordan Guyton, JourdanGuyton on all platforms. So yeah, send me a DM. My DMs are open. Sometimes they're in shambles, but I still answer all of my DMs and I love connecting with everyone.
Wow, I love it. Thank you. This has just been a really empowering conversation because social can sometimes feel like a science, and we forget like there are actual human beings that we're trying to connect with, and they're not just a number. Like, ooh, what were my numbers today? So I know that feels right for me. That feels a lot better for me. So love it.
Good.
Well, thank you. And this is one of many talks. We'll be in touch.
Yay, thank you, Kelly.